Have you noticed something about the Herald of Death in Honkai Star Rail? Well, story goes that the Herald of Death died 15 years ago, after turning the Phantasmoon games into what became known as the Blood-Stained games, slaughtering civilians in order to gain massive amounts of wish power. But now a new Phantasmoon games has begun, and suddenly there's another mass murder. Everyone is saying it's a copycat killer, someone new partaking in the traits of the old. But I don't think that's true. I think the Herald of Death has actually returned, just not in a way a lot of people are expecting. While exploring Planet Arcadia through the main story, we are introduced to creatures known as Imaginae, beings born from a process known as Imagogenesis, that feed on wish power. Most of them are strange, dreamlike creatures, but there is one type that's interesting and that we are forced to meet in the main story: ghosts. Ghosts are Imaginae born from regret and obsession. They retain the memories of their previous life, even the personalities. They can think, plan, act like the person that they once were. However, they are legally distinct from their previous existence, meaning that if someone dies after committing a crime and later a ghost of them forms, that ghost is not held responsible for any of those crimes, which feels like a very strange rule and a very specific rule to mention in the middle of the story. Unless, of course, it matters, because 15 years ago, the Herald of Death didn't just lose the Phantasmoon games, he died obsessed with winning. So what if the enormous wish power generated during the Bloodstream games, combined with that leftover regret and the obsession, created something new? A ghost of the Herald of Death. A being that remembers everything, a being that still wants to win, and technically isn't the Herald of Death anymore. So the Herald of Death did die 15 years ago, but has been resurrected. A being that remembers everything, a being that still wants to win, and a being that's going to do exactly what they did 15 years ago, but this time is going to try and succeed. And legally speaking, this ghost cannot be held responsible for any of the previous crimes. These new crimes, however,